Procrastination is the thief of time. We've all heard that. The tendency to procrastinate is the primary reason many people lead lives of quiet desperation and then retire poor. It is not that people do not know what to do. Most people have a pretty good idea of the steps they can take to improve their lives or their work. The problem is that they continually find reasons not to do it today until it is too late, until there are no more tomorrows left. One of the most valuable habits you can develop in life is a sense of urgency, an inner drive to get on with it, to get the job done now. Recently, 104 chief executive officers were surveyed and asked, what sort of qualities would most mark a young person in your company for rapid promotion? They were given a list of 50 qualities and behaviors, and surprisingly enough, 84% of them agreed that 2 of the 50 qualities were more important than all the others. The first of the 2 qualities was defined as the ability to separate the relevant from the irrelevant, or to set priorities. Every manager has had the frustrating experience of coming upon one of his or her staff working away at something that is a low priority when something of higher priority is being left undone. Many organizations are overstaffed and under-efficient simply because so many people in the organization spend so much time on items of low priority. The second quality identified by the CEOs was the ability to get the job done fast, the ability to take the ball and run with it without hesitation or delay. Everyone intends to do good work, but the road to failure is paved with good intentions. I was at the annual convention of a very successful national organization not long ago, where they handed out small, round wooden discs with the words, "To It," printed on the surface. They call these little discs round to-its, and they are handed out generously to people who are going to do something as soon as they get around to it. Once they have been given one of these round to-its, they no longer have any excuses, or so the theory goes. If you work for an organization, or if you run your own business, or if you are in sales, and you develop a reputation for speed and dependability, you will never have to worry about being successful, being promoted, or being rich. You will be able to write your own ticket. The single biggest shortage among employed people today is called time poverty. Many people have the money today, but they do not have the time to enjoy it. Because of this, time is becoming more important to us than money in many cases. We will pay more money for people who will save us time, for people who will do things for us quickly. In fact, when we ask someone to do something for us, or when we call a company to supply us with a product or service, we have enormous respect for them when they move fast. We consider speed to be indicative of quality, dependability, class, efficiency, and excellence. On the other hand, when we deal with an individual or organization that acts slowly or responds slowly to our requests, we consider that organization to be of poor quality. We consider it to be run by inefficient and ineffective people. Toward the end of almost every contract in business today is a clause that says something like, "Time shall be of the essence of this agreement." Today, time is of the essence in everything we do. Learning to overcome procrastination is a vital step on the ladder of success. Without it, you simply cannot succeed at anything worthwhile. Here, then, is the psychology of overcoming procrastination. Here are 7 things you can do to program your mind with a sense of urgency. Number 1, set worthwhile goals that you intensely desire to achieve. A major reason for procrastination is that there is nothing that the person wants badly enough to get going, to get on with it. Many people procrastinate and delay because they really don't want to do what they're doing. Goals serve as a motivator. The more goals you have, the less likely you will be to procrastinate on the tasks necessary to achieve them. When you set a lot of goals, you trigger the law of forced efficiency. You find yourself irresistibly moving toward working more efficiently simply because you have so many things that you have to get done in such a short time period. Number 2, another way to program your mind for overcoming procrastination is to continually visualize the task as completed. Visualize the goal as already achieved. Imagine how you will feel with the job behind you. Imagine the satisfaction you will have when the task is accomplished. The more pleasurable the feeling of completion, the more focused you will be and the more energized you will feel. Clear mental pictures of a desired future reality sharpen your mind and enable you to concentrate better. For example, if you set an income goal that you want to achieve in a certain time period, and you vividly imagine how you're going to enjoy the extra money, what you will buy, where you will go, what you will do, you will find yourself being internally motivated to do the things necessary to achieve the goal. Every time you visualize, you increase the intensity of your desire and strengthen your resolve and willpower to do whatever is necessary to make the mental image into a reality. Number 3, use the power of positive affirmations to program a sense of urgency into your subconscious mind. At the beginning of each major task, repeat and affirm over and over, "Do it now, do it now, do it now." W. Clement Stone, who built an insurance fortune in excess of $500 million, has written that the repetition of the affirmation, "Do it now," was a key factor in his rise from a poor boy selling newspapers on the streets of Chicago to becoming one of the richest men in America, if not the world. Throughout his company, with branches all over the United States and in other countries, each morning the entire staff would stand together and shout out, "Do it now, do it now, do it now," 50 times before starting the day. Many successful men and women all over the world trace their success back to their association with W. Clement Stone and his motto, "Do it now." You can develop any mental habit you desire by repeated suggestions in the form of affirmations and mental pictures from your conscious mind to your subconscious mind. At a certain point, your subconscious mind will accept the new command as the new operating principle, and you will find yourself with a sense of urgency that is just as much of a habit for you as brushing your teeth. Number 4, another method that many people use to overcome procrastination is to set a deadline for themselves on all important tasks. Put yourself on record. Tell other people you will have the job done by this time. You will find that promising others motivates yourself. We will work very hard to fulfill our promises and to avoid disappointing others. Often promising others that you will have something done by a certain time and date is more powerful than promising yourself. Setting a clear, specific deadline also programs it into your subconscious mind, and you often find yourself impelled internally toward getting the job done. It is almost as though your subconscious mind will install an automatic override on your tendency to procrastinate. Number 5, refuse to rationalize or to make excuses for procrastination. All procrastination seems to be accompanied by rationalization, and rationalization is best defined as attempting to put a socially favorable interpretation on an otherwise socially unacceptable act. It is explaining away and making excuses for unproductive behavior. You will notice that people who procrastinate always have what they think is a good reason. So don't allow yourself the luxury of making excuses. Say you will do it and then burn your mental bridges. Refuse to consider the possibility of not doing it or the reasons you are justified in not doing it. Number 6, and this is a wonderful way to help you overcome procrastination. Create a reward system for yourself. Create a reward system for each part of the job as well as for successful completion of the whole job. It is amazing how powerful this simple idea is. You can actually program yourself into being eager to start a job and to continue with it until it's finished. Psychologists call this operant conditioning. Operant conditioning is when you are conditioned to expect a specific consequence after performing a specific act. For example, you are conditioned to look forward to the weekend after a week of work. That's why people say, "Thank God it's Friday." The weekend is a pleasurable state toward which one directs one's efforts during the other 5 days. It is, in effect, a positive consequence of the work week. Creating a reward system for yourself requires only a little imagination. For instance, if you have a big task to do and there are 5 parts of the task, give yourself a reward like taking yourself out for dinner or going to a movie or even going shopping once you've completed the task. Then, create a series of interim rewards. Give yourself a cup of coffee or lunch or a walk around the block or an hour of watching television as a reward for completing each part of the task. Pretty soon you'll find yourself eager to move from step to step so that you can enjoy the reward that you've planned for yourself. Your focus of attention moves away from the difficulty of the task and onto the enjoyability of the reward. We teach salespeople to overcome procrastination in making prospecting telephone calls by putting a cup of coffee or a cookie next to the phone and then giving themselves a sip of coffee or a piece of cookie for every telephone call they make. It may sound simple and childish, but you would be amazed at how effective it is at changing behavior. And if you doubt me, I challenge you to offer to take a child to McDonald's if he or she cleans up his or her room. All evidence of procrastination in cleaning up the room will disappear. Number 7, program yourself to overcome procrastination by accepting 100% responsibility for the completion of the task on schedule. Look only to yourself. Rely only on your own ability. No matter what the obstacle, resolve to find a way around, up, over, or past whatever gets in your way. Refuse to make excuses. Accepting complete responsibility for results and not allowing yourself the luxury of a mental escape hatch is the equivalent of putting your own feet to the fire. It is amazing how much you will get done when you eliminate your opportunities to put it off. Now, here are 5 things to do in beginning any job. First, create a good written plan with each part of the plan and each step organized in terms of priorities. Put an A, B, or C next to each step. A written plan leads you into action. It gives you a track to run on and a blueprint to follow. Second, clean up your workspace and begin with only one thing, the most important thing in front of you. A clean workspace is a real motivator to action. A good time management planner or system is very useful in this regard because it helps keep you focused. Third, remember, important tasks are not usually urgent, and urgent tasks are not usually important. Always start off working on the tasks that are both urgent and important. Start off with the tasks that have very short time fuses. Then move to the tasks that are merely important, but not urgent. Fourth, remember, you always tend to procrastinate on large, important tasks with considerable future value. Successful completion of these major tasks can make a real difference in your life. There seems to be a universal tendency to delay working on or completion of the task until the last moment. Some people say that they work better under pressure. This may be true, but it is always superior to have the job done well in advance of the deadline. Fifth, in beginning the job, learn to practice creative procrastination. This requires that you consciously procrastinate on those tasks that contribute little or nothing to the accomplishment of major high-value goals. Since you can never do everything that you have to do, you're going to have to procrastinate on something. The difference between effective people and ineffective people is that effective people procrastinate on those things that don't really matter, whereas ineffective people always procrastinate on the tasks that could make a real difference. Use your self-discipline to put off minor, irrelevant tasks in favor of major, important tasks. You have probably noticed that many small jobs left to themselves have a tendency to die on you. If you don't do them, you eventually reach a point in time where they don't need to be done at all. These are the tasks upon which you should creatively procrastinate. So ask yourself this question: what would happen if this weren't done at all? If the answer to this question is not much or nothing, then put it off as long as you can. Now, here are 16 of the most powerful techniques ever developed to help you overcome procrastination in your life. Think about which of these ideas could be helpful to you right now in your situation. Number 1, think on paper. Prepare thoroughly. List every step of the job in advance. Break the job down into its constituent parts before you begin. The very act of thoroughly preparing in advance has a tendency to help you overcome procrastination. Number 2, gather all the necessary materials and all the necessary work tools in front of you. When you sit down to work or when you begin the task, have everything at hand so that you don't have to get up or move until the task is complete. This is a powerful motivator for staying with the task until it is finished. Number 3, do one small thing to get started. There is a 20-80 rule that says that the first 20% of the task often accounts for 80% of the value of that task. This is probably what Confucius meant when he said, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." Once you have done even one small thing to start the job, you will have a tendency to continue on into the task toward completion. Number 4, salami slice the task. Just as you would never try to eat a whole loaf of salami at once, sometimes the best way to complete a major job is to take a small slice and complete it, just as you would take a small slice of salami and eat it. You have heard the riddle, how do you eat an elephant? And the answer, of course, is one bite at a time. There is a saying, by the yard it's hard, but inch by inch, anything is a cinch. Picking a small piece of the task and just doing it and getting it behind you is often an effective way to help you get over procrastinating. Number 5, this is called the Swiss cheese technique, which means that you select a 5-minute part of the job and do it. You punch a hole in it, as it were. Don't worry about the whole job, just pick a part of the job with an identifiable amount of time required and then do that part. For instance, if you want to write an article or a book or read a book, you can break the task down into small pieces and just do one small piece at a time when you get a chance. Many people write complete books on airplanes or in waiting rooms or in snatches of time between other activities. If you wrote 1 page per day for a year, you would have a 365-page book at the end of the year. Number 6, start from the outside and complete the smaller tasks first. Sometimes there are a series of things that you have to do in order to tackle the main part of the job. In that case, starting from the outside and doing all the little things will help you overcome procrastination and get you face to face with the big things. Number 7 is the opposite of number 6. Start from the inside and do the larger tasks first. Looking at your list of everything that you have to do in order to complete the job, ask yourself, what is the biggest single thing on this list? What is the one item that will take the most time or require the most effort? Then, force yourself to start with that item and complete it. All the other items will seem easier by comparison. Number 8, to overcome procrastination, do the task that causes you the most fear or anxiety. This usually has to do with someone else. Often it has to do with overcoming the fear of failure or rejection. In sales, it may be associated with prospecting. In management, it may be associated with disciplining or firing an employee. In relationships, it may have to do with confronting an unhappy situation. In every case, you will be more effective by dealing with the item that is causing the greatest emotional distress or fear. Number 9, a good way to overcome procrastination is to start the day with the most unpleasant task first. A recent study compared 2 groups of people. One group started an exercise program in the mornings. The second group started an exercise program in the evenings after work. The researchers found that the morning exercisers were much more likely to still be in the program 6 months later. They found that starting the day with exercise was much more likely to lead to the habit of regular exercise than putting it off until the end of the day when it was easier to make excuses and procrastinate. Someone once said that you should get up and eat a live frog first thing in the morning. Then you can start the day knowing that that's the worst thing that can happen to you all day long. Number 10, you can trigger yourself into action by thinking of the negative consequences of not doing the job or completing the task. What will happen if this job is not done on schedule? Both fear and desire are great motivators of human action. Sometimes we can motivate ourselves by the desire for the benefits and rewards of task completion. Sometimes we can motivate ourselves into action by thinking about the negative consequences of not doing the job. Number 11, think of how you will benefit from doing the job, from completing the task. Write down all the reasons why it would be beneficial for you to get this job done on time. The more reasons you have, the more intense will be your desire, and the greater will be your internal drive toward completion. If you have 1 or 2 reasons for getting a job done, you will have a mild level of motivation. But if you have 10 or 20 reasons for completing the job, your level of motivation will be considerably higher, and so will be your persistence and self-discipline. Number 12, set aside a designated 15-minute period during the day when you will work on your project. Setting aside a specific time period sometime during the day, say from 10 to 10:15 in the morning or 2 to 2:15 in the afternoon, and resolving just to work for that brief 15-minute period and not worrying about anything else will often get you into the task. To make this technique work, you must make an appointment with yourself and write it down. Then, when the designated time comes, have your tools and materials at hand and begin the 15-minute work session. At the end of the 15 minutes, you may feel like continuing to work. If not, put it aside and schedule another 15-minute appointment at another time. Number 13. Since perfectionism is a major reason for procrastination, decide not to worry about doing the job perfectly. Just get started and work steadily. You can always go back and make corrections and revisions later. Nothing worthwhile has ever been done perfectly the first time anyway. A friend of mine had just started a consulting business, and he was telling me that it was going to be a month before he went out and made any calls on prospective clients. I asked him why, and he told me that he was waiting for his brochures, his letterhead, and his business cards to be done just right. I told him that his brochures, his letterhead, and his business cards would never get him a nickel's worth of business, that what he should do is to write his new telephone number on the back of his existing business cards or get some made up quickly and just get out in front of his prospective clients. I advised him that this would do him more good than all the brochures he would ever design. Thankfully, he accepted my advice, and now he is already doing business. Number 14, pick one area where procrastination is hurting you. One identifiable area where you know your tendency to procrastinate is holding you back. Pick the most important area and conquer it. Set priorities on your areas of procrastination and then concentrate single-mindedly on the one area where overcoming it can make the greatest contribution to your success. Always attack the most difficult tasks first. Challenge yourself to confront the hardest parts of your work and get them done before anything else. Number 15, and this is something I've mentioned before, develop a compulsion to closure. Once you have launched, once you have begun to work on your task, refuse to stop until it's completed. Remember, if you can force yourself to start and stay with it and to finish even one important job, you will be laying down the foundation for a life of persistent, purposeful work. Force yourself to finish the last 5% of the job. This is the part that is worth all the rest in terms of personal satisfaction. The last 5 or 10% of the job is often the point where we have the greatest temptation to let up. It is when we can see the end of the job that we allow ourselves the luxury of relaxing or taking a break. However, the true sense of relief and feeling of accomplishment only comes when the last I is dotted and the last T is crossed. Number 16, the final key to overcoming procrastination is to maintain fast tempo. Fast tempo is essential to success. Work at a brisk pace. Walk quickly, move quickly, write fast, act quickly, get on with it. Consciously decide to speed up all your habitual actions. It is amazing how much you will start to accomplish when you push yourself to move faster instead of staying at your normal pace. In fact, if you continually force yourself to work hard and fast, you will start to experience flow. You will start to get an enhanced feeling of confidence and ability. You will start to go through enormous quantities of work in a much shorter period of time than you've done in the past. All effective people enjoy this mysterious flow of energy on a regular basis, and it comes from deliberately speeding up the tempo of your work and keeping at it until you lift off. In conclusion, this has been one of the most important sessions in this entire program on time management. It takes courage and self-discipline to break the habit of procrastination. The rewards, however, are great. They are self-esteem, self-confidence, pride, and lifelong success. You can do it if you put your mind to it. No other decision will be more life-enhancing and satisfying than the decision to do it now, do it now, do it now.